Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a massive milestone in anyone's financial journey, hitting that first $100,000. We're going to break down exactly why getting there feels like such a grind, and why, once you cross that magic number, building wealth suddenly gets a whole lot easier.
So let's just dive right into the big question. If you've ever looked at your savings account and felt like you were getting nowhere fast, trust me, you are not alone. It's a feeling almost every single investor has at the start. So let's get to the bottom of why that is. To really get why that 100K mark is such a game changer, we first have to talk about the struggle to get there. We call it the uphill climb. This is that part of the journey where progress feels painfully slow and you feel like every single dollar is a battle.
See, in this early phase, there's really only one thing that matters more than anything else: your savings rate. It all comes down to how much cash you can physically put aside from your paycheck. It is pure financial brute force. Your money, well, it isn't really doing much for you yet. You are doing all the heavy lifting. And this chart right here, this is the visual proof. Just look at those two bars. The tall one, that's your savings, and it absolutely dwarfs that tiny little investment growth bar next to it. It shows you clear as day that in the beginning, any growth you see is coming from you, not from the market. Yeah, there's a reason we call this period the grind. It's defined by your own contributions doing pretty much all the work. It feels slow, it's demanding, and that's because your little wealth snowball is still just a small clump of snow. You literally have to pack it together with your own two hands and push it uphill before it gets big enough to start rolling on its own. But, after all that grinding, something really incredible starts to happen. You finally reach what we call the tipping point. This is where your small, hand-pushed snowball starts to pick up its own speed and grow all by itself. This, my friends, is the magic of compounding finally kicking in. So once you've built up that critical mass, that first $100,000, the entire growth engine just flips on its head. For the very first time, your money starts making more money. It's finally working harder than you are. And that is the beautiful, powerful secret of compounding. And this table just illustrates that crossover moment perfectly. Take a look. Year after year, you're putting in the same amount of money. But then you see that highlighted row? That is the magic moment. The investment gain is now officially bigger than your own contribution. From this point on, your money is generating more wealth for you than your paycheck is. So what does this actually mean? It means that once you've hit that tipping point, more than half of your portfolio's new growth can come from the market alone without you lifting a finger. This creates this incredible feeling of acceleration, and it's exactly why your journey to the second 100,000 is so much faster than the first. But this isn't just about the math or the spreadsheets. Hitting this milestone triggers a huge psychological win. It completely changes how you think, and more importantly, how you feel about money. This quote really just nails it. Hitting that first 100K is the proof. It's tangible evidence that your saving, your budgeting, your entire investing strategy, it actually works. It's not just a number on a screen, it's the validation for all your discipline. And that builds an absolutely unshakable foundation of financial confidence. And this mental shift, it happens in three pretty clear stages. First, you've formed the habits. Saving isn't a chore anymore, it's just what you do. Then your confidence skyrockets. That financial anxiety starts to fade away because you've seen the system work. And finally, you start making smarter decisions. You're thinking in decades, not days, and you learn to tune out all that short-term market noise. Now, having this capital base and this newfound confidence, it doesn't just feel good. It unlocks a whole new horizon of opportunities. Your strategic options just expand like crazy. So let's look at what really changes after you cross that 100K mark. Before you hit 100K, your focus is laser sharp on one thing: accumulation. Every single dollar you can possibly save and invest is critical. But after, the game changes. You shift from just gathering assets to optimizing them. You start thinking way more about diversification and, just as important, about managing risk to protect everything you've worked so hard to build. This unlocks a whole new world of possibilities. All of a sudden, you might have access to different kinds of investments. A single contribution doesn't make or break your month anymore. You have so much more flexibility to manage risk. But honestly, the most important thing is you now have the incredible, unstoppable power of momentum on your side. Okay, so let's bring this all home.
After looking at the math, the psychology, and the strategy, what's the real takeaway here? Why does this one milestone matter so much?
This chart says it all. It perfectly summarizes the entire journey. Remember that first bar chart where your savings did all the heavy lifting? Now look at this. The growth engine for your next 100,000 has totally flipped. That massive investment growth slice shows that your money is now the star of the show. This is the beautiful result of all that grinding you did at the start. And that brings us to what I think is the single most important point. The number itself, $100,000, that's not the real prize. The true victory is the set of habits and the unstoppable momentum you built to get there. That is the asset that's going to carry you to every single financial goal you have from here on out. And that just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that your wealth snowball is finally rolling and growing all on its own, where are you going to direct its momentum? Because once the hardest part is over, the real journey is just beginning.